a lot of Israelis believed in a two-state solution. That is gone. Okay, nobody believes it right now. Even Israelis, okay, don't believe anymore in a two-state solution unless there will be another group of people, government, that will, instead of promoting hate, will promote coexistence and peace.
He's lived through history most of us can only imagine, and yet somehow Sami Steigmann is still the one who makes us laugh. Today on Jew and Stew, we sat down with Sami, Holocaust survivor, advocate, and accidental movie star. Yes, the man who once shared a screen with Scarlett Johansson has sat down to talk to the Chicago Jewish Alliance team. But this conversation isn't just about the past, it's about the extraordinary life he's built since. From classrooms to Capitol Hill, using his story to fight hate, teach empathy, and remind us gratitude in all its forms. I'm Daniel Schwartz, and this is Jew and Stew from the Chicago Jewish Alliance, where memory meets modern life. Have a listen.
Hi, Sami. Thank you so much for coming and joining us on Jew and Stew today. We're so honored to have you here.
I am actually honored because my mission in life is an acronym of a Hebrew word called emet, which means truth. And this is to educate the next generation, to motivate them to be the best they can be, to become upstanders, because all the tragedies in the world, okay, happen with words and bullying, okay, and at the same time because people did not react in time and appropriately, okay, and things kept escalating. And knowledge without becoming active is not very effective. And when I'm talking about tolerance, it's not to accept other people's misbehavior. It is accept other people's opinion, other people's culture.
Sami, you just used the word upstander. Do you want to explain what that word means? What does it mean to be an upstander?
Okay, what happens is that we are all facing different harassments, things that are inappropriate. And most of the people have a tendency, to stand by and to do nothing. Okay. And we have to stand up when we hear misrepresentations, when we hear lies, when people are harassed or groups of people, so we cannot, what happened during the Holocaust, okay, is a lot of the people, not everybody was a criminal, but a lot of the people did not stand up, okay, and oppose the regime of Hitler. And that's why things, okay, kept escalating.
How old were you during the Holocaust?
During the Holocaust, we were deported by the Romanians, not by the Germans. I was only a year and a half. And if you will ask any survivor, how come you're alive today? Everybody will use one word, and this is luck. My luck was that I was never separated from my parents. I was subjected to medical experiments. You will not see it on my face, but I have been, I am, and will be for the rest of my life in pain every single second. Okay, and the third luck was the fact that my life was saved by German women. The reason that they could not find a cure in my particular case is because the pain that I'm suffering from is not localized. I'm suffering from head, neck, shoulders, and back. Right now, because of my age, in 2 months I will be 86. I have other issues, but not related to the experiments. So, because it's not localized, I don't know where the pain will start. I don't know how long it will be there, where it will go. The same thing, how painful it will be. It can be extreme. Right now, because of my age, things have mellowed a little bit, so it's not as intense as it used to be. About 50 years ago, I decided to learn to live with the pain and stop using the heavy painkillers And because I have a very high pain tolerance, I have been successful. So today I do not use painkillers.
Sami, can you talk a little bit more about this? Your experience at one. I mean, do you recall anything at that young of an age? What the camp was like, what the camp was called, and what made this camp unique to other camps? It's a very interesting camp.
Well, okay. The camp was called Mogilev Podolsk in the former Soviet Union. And after 1991, right now it's in Ukraine. What happened is on June 22nd, 1941, Germany broke their agreement with the former Soviet Union not to attack each other. Okay. When they attacked, behind them were special mobile squads, killing groups called Einsatzgruppen. Their only job was to murder people, Russians, Jews, etc. Behind them were the Romanian troops, and they annexed an area of the former Soviet Union called Transnistria, which became part of Romania. And that's why we were deported by the Romanians. The camp was liberated in 1944, okay, and again, it became part of the former Soviet Union. Because we were deported by the Romanians, in 1946, after being bribed, that's a different story. But in 1946, the Romanian government allowed a small group of Jews, approximately 3,000 from the former Soviet Union, to repatriate. My mother and I were born outside of Romania proper, in an area of Austro-Hungarian Empire called Bukovina, which belonged to Romania. But my father was born in Romania proper. Being anti-communist, he chose to the lesser of two evils and went back to Romania. And your audience should be afraid of me because I'm the Jewish Dracula. I grew up in Transylvania until 1961, when finally we got the visa after the Romanian government was bribed. We finally got a visa to go to Israel. And there I was until 1968. I served in the Israeli Air Force, 1962, 1965. And it's an interesting story how I came to the United States.
How old were you when you arrived in Israel? And what did your parents think of the fact that Israel even existed at that time?
Well, we were Zionists, okay? My father was a Zionist. So he was very happy. That's why he applied in 1949 to go to Israel. But we got the visa only in 1961.
What did it mean in that year to be a Zionist? What did that mean for your father to consider himself a Zionist?
At that particular time, and even today, is that the Jews have the right to have their own country and to decide, okay, their own destiny. We lived all over the world under different regimes. Some of them were benevolent, some were very cruel. But our decisions were not based on our selves. It was dictated many times by the regimes that we were under. As a matter of fact, I can tell you a story. When we come to a new city or a new country, there is always the first memory that stays with us. When I set foot in Israel, my first memory that is still with me today, seeing a Jewish policeman. That made me realize that I'm home, I'm a free man, and at the same time, we are in charge of our own destiny, not dictated by anybody else, good, bad, or indifferent.
Can you talk about the day you arrived in Israel? How old were you? What was your parents' reaction? How did it feel? What do you remember about that first day arriving there?
Well, first of all, to answer your previous questions, when we came to Romania, I was less than 6 years old. Okay. When we came to Israel, I was about almost 21 years old. Okay. Coming to Israel, it felt a sense of joy, a sense of pride. Okay. And being a newcomer, I had some time to adjust to the Israeli culture. So I was not recruited right away. But on the other hand, I was so proud and so happy being in my own homeland. I volunteered. So I was not recruited. I volunteered to be in the army. In those days, I don't know today, I've been away for a very long time, but in those days, if you were not accepted in the army, they would do everything possible, cheat, steal, anything that he could to be part of the military. The pride was absolutely unreal. The pride to serve in the Israeli army.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't even imagine that juxtaposition of, being targeted for being a Jew and then finding salvation finally in Israel. Were you there for the wars in Israel?
Yes, 67 and 68, but because of my pain, they want, okay, in 67, the first target is the air base. Once you survive the first attack, you're basically a worker in the uniform. But in 83, when I returned to Israel, they wanted me to be in the War of Lebanon, but to be in the tank. And because I had to be able to prove, okay, the pain that I had with my back, and the tanks are not very smooth. So they put me in the communication detail. So did not shoot at anybody, nobody shot at me. But every function in a war is very important.
Yeah, I mean, coming from Saurus to more Saurus. My questions go back to the camp. So who liberated the camp, and
I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you anything about it. I cannot tell you anything about it because I was year and a half, 2 years old, and I have no memory of that period of time. For me, that's a blessing in
I see.
disguise because, like the older generation, I don't have to relive those horror stories every single day. On the other hand, until the Eichmann trial in Israel in 1961, Holocaust survivors did not speak publicly, with very, very few exceptions. At the same time, the survivors wanted the children to have a normal childhood. So I knew that I'm a Holocaust survivor because my father talked about the fact that we were in the camp. Okay, it was called Mogilev Podolsk. And at the same time, that from his family, from 42 people, only two survived. Now, I have to say something about, survive about my uncle. My uncle was not a survivor. He was never in a camp. But there were only three countries that officially accepted Jewish refugees: Dominican Republic, China, and Philippines. My uncle was a refugee in Shanghai. In I think about 3-4 years ago, there was a movie at the synagogue here in New York with the General Council of China, and they showed for the first time a documentary called "Survival in Shanghai."
There was a exhibit at the Illinois Holocaust Museum. Well, two things that are relevant. The first thing is at the Illinois Holocaust Museum, their motto is "Be an upstander, not a bystander," and so I think that's just part of.
Exactly, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that's where I learned, I believe, about the camp that you were in, as well as the Chinese taking in Jews during World War II through the Holocaust Museum had an exhibit on it. It was a remarkable thing to learn. I've talked about it on the podcast. My grandparents were also not in the camps. They were part of the Belsky Brigade, which was resistance fighters. And then on my
Okay. I heard one of the brothers speak. not the older one, but his younger brother. I heard him speak.
I mean, it's a remarkable story. And then on my dad's side, my grandpa was part of the Kinder transport. So through Austria, England bought
Yes.
some Jews, I believe, like 1,000 Jews. They bought.
That is good. That is correct.
So that's.
I believe if my memory serves me correct, they were sent to Vandermeer.
I believe so. Yes, I need to go and actually see that route. And Simona could probably. Yeah.
By the way, one thing I want to tell you before I forget. For the first time, I was the first time on the March of the Living. Okay, I'll go next year also. Okay, but for the first time, and the interesting part is when I was in Auschwitz, there was a world map, and it showed obviously Romania, but not the big cities. A city unknown where I grew up. Okay, and I couldn't believe that in the whole map of Romania, they showed the little town. It became a city about 33 years ago. The little town called Reghin, Reghin. Amazing. I was totally surprised to see that. And that was in Auschwitz.
I've never done that trip, but it sounds
Could
like...
you?
You should.
I don't know.
You should.
I had the hardest time when I was in Israel going to the Holocaust Museum. And my first time at our Holocaust Museum here was our first Chicago Jewish Alliance group tour of it. And I'm so glad I went. But I don't know. Those things are so hard. When I'm from Riga, Latvia. I was born in Riga. And when I went to the Israeli Holocaust Museum and walked into a room, and there was a whole exhibit about the ghetto in Riga. And I just completely broke down. You had mentioned that children of survivors didn't even know, and they didn't talk about it. And we actually know people who are they didn't find out their parents were survivors until they were in their 30s or 40s. They never knew about it growing up. But what I find when I do come across survivors is they are some of the most full of life, full of joy people that have faced such horrors, and that they really love life, value their families. How do you think, I mean, you've been living in pain your whole life. And I'm sitting here looking at you, and you're so kind and you're sweet. And most people, I work in healthcare. Most people I come across in chronic pain, they don't have the ability to be kind because they're in pain all the time. It's hard. It takes effort. How do you manage with everything you've been through, being such a lovely person?
And what does that shirt say?
Well,
Sammy, what does your shirt say? Party Tuesday? Can you also explain the shirt?
Yeah. I was at the most elaborate bat mitzvah, ceremony and party that I was there, and this was my honorary granddaughter's bat mitzvah. And after the services. And she was absolutely fantastic, phenomenal. I've never been to such an elaborate service. At the same time, at the party, they started to dance, at 7:30, and they didn't finish until midnight. Obviously, most of the time I was sitting. But one of the things that I also wanted to tell you is I used to volunteer for Make-A-Wish Foundation. And I don't know if you heard of them. I used to volunteer for them for 15 years. I'm telling you, the most resilient kids I have ever met. And, you never heard of mind over matter. Have you?
Yes. It comes up in fitness quite a lot.
What a surprise. When I'm using the word mind over matter, if you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So you get used to it. So for instance, if I'm going for a walk by myself, I will feel the pain. No, but if I'm with somebody and I talk to them, Okay, I'm distracted, and I'm paying attention to what I'm saying or what they say. Okay, and the pain is in the background. So I have a high pain tolerance, so I'm able to ignore it.
I think in Judaism,
And the pain today is not as strong as it used to be.
that I'm glad to hear
It's
that.
very manageable.
I'm glad to hear the pain is not strong and manageable for you, and that you were able to get off the strong painkillers. Like, what a blessing! I'm so happy
Yeah.
to hear that.
Oh, I have to tell you, something. I had about 9 months ago. Okay, I couldn't put my foot down, so I went to the doctor. I mean, I couldn't walk. And the interesting part is the doctor gave me 20 opioids. I used 7 of them. Okay, miraculously, the pain went away. I still have 13. I use it only for pain, extreme pain.
I think in life, I've realized as I've gotten older that I'm an optimist. And people always say to me, like, how you're like in the middle of all this advocacy work with people who are so anti-Semitic. And I think it's what you choose to see and what you choose to concentrate on life. And that's really where your focus and energy goes towards. If it's love, versus if it's almost like this loop where people who are negative perpetuate the negativity and people who are positive attract more positivity. And I truly believe that.
But I find this so much in Jewish people too. Jewish people love life. We celebrate life. Somebody told me, I think it was Peggy Shapiro, that if a funeral march and a wedding procession come and meet in the street, that the wedding procession has the right of way because we celebrate our joys and we celebrate life and love above everything else.
We are also the only nation in the world that after we mourn the Memorial Day, Yom HaZikaron, okay, immediately after it's finished, we start to celebrate, okay, our Independence Day, Yom HaAtzmaut. There is no other country. There is always a period of time in between. For us, we go from mourning to celebration. And, talking about positivity, I ask especially young people, also adults, but especially young people, what's the difference between being an optimist and a pessimist? And they give me all kinds of explanation. But I say a pessimist sees in every opportunity a problem. An optimist sees in every problem an opportunity. And I'll give you an example. I was homeless. I was in a shelter. It was a time that I did not want to live. And I was an extremely heavy smoker, about at least 2.5 packs a day. And I said to myself, when I will quit smoking, not try, when I will quit smoking cold turkey, that will be the beginning of my road to recovery. So for instance, on December 13, 1996, I had my last cigarette. And this is what I'm trying to say. Here it is, okay. I saw an opportunity to do something about it. And that's why it's important, for instance, like I said before, pessimist sees in every opportunity a problem. I saw being in a shelter an opportunity to do something to recover.
You have a real rags to riches story then, because the latest news on Sami is he is going to be in Scarlett Johansson's new film.
Not going to be. The film came out last week.
Oh,
No,
it came out
on September 25th.
It came out.
Oh,
Yes, and now the funny part is, since you brought it up, it's a totally bashirt, meant to be. I was supposed to be just an extra with 5 other survivors for 2 days. Unbeknownst to me, they asked me to say something. in my memory, is not as good as it was. And as they redid the scene, I couldn't remember what I said before. And when I saw the screening, I didn't remember that I said what's in the movie. And I became a principal performer. So therefore, you will see me only in the beginning, but not on the second day, okay, when they were at the synagogue at the Bar Mitzvah event. Because as a principal performer, okay, you cannot be an extra in the same movie. So I was there only for 1 week, and now I became, okay, eligible to be a member of the Screen Actors Guild. So I call myself, right now, I am a Hollywood movie actor. Unemployed, like many others, but
Mr.
unemployed.
Hollywood, what is the movie called again? I got to see it this week. I'm so excited to go, Sami. What is it called?
Okay. Simona,
Not
have you seen the
yet,
movie?
but I want to see it. It's called Eleanor the Great. And Sami, my understanding in the movie is that you are in a Holocaust survivors support group and you're talking about your actual real
Correct.
life experiences.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't. I don't. I welcome the main character, okay, to the support group.
Why do you think it was
so it's
important?
So it's just one line.
Why do you think it was important in a decision Scarlett Johansson made to cast actual survivors for this role?
My firm belief is she wanted to be authentic. Because when the main character, when June Squibb takes over the personality of her friend that passed away, she was never in the Holocaust. Okay, so Scarlett wanted to give authenticity what her friend told her about the Holocaust. And by having live survivors, okay, that's a very important impact.
You were at the premiere.
And and as a matter of fact, June Squibb, in my opinion, did such a wonderful job that she deserves, okay, an Oscar nomination.
How do we make that happen? How do we make that Oscar nomination happen?
You got to be in the guild and vote, or be very rich and bribe them, I think is how they did it in the 60s and 50s. Sami, let me ask you a question. A lot of people, well, at least I could speak for me. I'm an accidental advocate. I grew up with my babush and Zaidi always telling me not to get too comfortable because it almost felt like they saw what the world was to the Jew. And I know to them, America was the best country in the world, but it did come with this warning. What have you seen post October 7th that maybe has triggered something in you or something that you've seen around you that has brought you back into this space, right? That has, on most of our interviews, it's like pre-October 7th and what the world was like post-October 7th. What was the world post-October 7th for you, and how did you maintain your joy?
As a Holocaust survivor and Israeli, okay, I was not shocked when Hamas attacked Israel. Okay? That was not a shock to me. What shocked me is how they did it and advertised it. A lot of people tried, and I went through the gamut of emotions. Okay? Anything you can think of. What surprised me is that there are a lot of people today that try to compare it to what happened to the Holocaust. And my message is, please don't. Even the Nazis were not that brutal, and they tried to hide their crimes. Okay, but if you have the need to make comparisons, compare it to the brutality of ISIS. And as a survivor, I never thought that I will see what I'm seeing today, not only nationally, but worldwide. From my perspective, in some of the brightest and some of the most prestigious campuses in this country, some of the brightest young people that we have. When they will graduate, they will become educated idiots. And to Iran, they are useful idiots. And I'm sure that you know the Haggadah, the book of Exodus from Egypt. There is a sentence there that says that in every generation, they try to annihilate us. We prevailed, unlike other civilizations that disappeared. Okay? What's happening in Middle East, we will prevail, we will win. And to the world, I have a very strong message. We are here to stay, whether you like it or not. Am Yisrael Chai.
And is that the best form of resistance, is just being Jewish, making Jewish babies and spreading Jewish joy?
There was also something that the October 7th changed. What happened is a lot of Israelis believed in a two-state solution. That is gone. Okay, nobody believes it right now. Even Israelis, okay, don't believe anymore in a two-state solution unless there will be another group of people, government, that will, instead of promoting hate, will promote coexistence and peace.
Yeah, we have a rule at Chicago Jewish Alliance. You know, we do advocacy wherever it is. We're like white blood cells. If we see anti-Semitism, however it manifests, we'll be there. But we do have a rule that if you can't advocate for yourself, it's hard for us to step in and advocate for you. And it's like, you know, the world has wanted to advocate for the Palestinian people, yet we've seen what that's like when they've gone into other countries and how violent they were after we left in 2005 and gave them their own autonomy, you know? So it's hard to help
Most of the
those that
people
can't
don't
help
know what
themselves.
they're talking about.
Right.
Right. But a lot of people are talking about, things that they don't know what's about. Okay, they don't know what they're talking about. What does it mean from the river to the sea? What does it mean, intifada? What does it mean, for instance, that Israel, okay, is starving the Palestinians to death? You have seen many pictures. Take a look how healthy they are, okay, when they are protesting and everything else. Okay, it's everything a lie. But we are not very good in propaganda. We are not united. Our enemies speak with one voice. We have many organizations that fight for the same thing, but we do not hear them because each one is different. We are not talking with one voice. And I have an idea, which probably will not happen, but my idea is we have so many great Jewish organizations fighting Jew hatred, and they have a lot of money. Why don't you take 75% of that money, put it in a bucket, and you will have money to be able to counter, okay, our enemies. You still have a role to play. You can do it, but you don't have to have the big, events which cost a lot of money and everything else, the galas and everything else, okay, just to preach to the choir. Why don't we unite and speak with one voice, and let's keep it? And you heard that it's related to economy, but we heard that, and let's use KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay, basically we have to have a very short sentence and say it over and over and over and over until it becomes part of our new narrative. The same thing, I don't like the word anti-Semitism because it can be used as part of hate. When you use the word Jew hatred, that is very specific. And it's a different form of hate. It cannot be lumped together. There was here in the United States, the Congress and the Senate passed a bill, two bills separate, hate and anti-Semitism. Guess what? They lumped it together. And it's not against hate, and it's not against Jews. Okay, that's why we have to be very, very specific with the words that we use. I had a interesting conversation with Simona, that we use certain words and we interpret it in a different way. We use the same words, but we hear, interpret it in a different way. So this is what the Nazis did. They used propaganda, and they were, in my opinion, the Nazis were, I would say, geniuses when it came to propaganda. I'll give you just one example. To convince the world to participate in the annihilation of the Jews, how did they do it? How did they portray the Jews? By an animal.
Rat.
What animal?
Rat.
Pardon me?
As a rat.
Rats. Why rats? Why rats?
Because they're vermin.
Just like the Jews, and they're very small in number. They're very small in number. They live all over the world, but they spread disease. So by portraying the Jews as rats, they convinced the world that the Jews are not only a danger to Germany, but to the world. And that's why we have to be very specific. When you use, the name of an animal, like cops, they call them pigs. This is basically what you do is you are dehumanizing that person or that group, and that is a license to hurt them. We have to be very specific with the words that we use. And unfortunately, there are two things that I'm very unhappy in the States. People have forgotten how to disagree in a civil way. And number two, our leaders do not teach the young people to take responsibility for their action. It's mental health. It's whatever it is. If somebody commits a crime, it's mental health. Give me a break. I mean, this was planned to kill and everything else. It's not random or whatever it is. So
I was just going to say, you said the Germans were good at propaganda. First of all, I think part of the reason we lose the fight is there's only 15 million Jews in the world. You know, Kanye West has 30 million Twitter followers. Like when we talk about narratives, we're just outnumbered in getting ours out. You know, and that's something we forget too. But I think this generation has done a good job of propaganda against the Jew with manipulation of language. For example, everybody seems to think what's happening in Gaza is a genocide just because they've said it over and over and over again. Meanwhile, the people in this genocide,
exactly, and that's why what I do. I don't use the word anti-Semitic wherever I go. We have to use the word, Jew hatred. And that's exactly what you said. We have to repeat it over and over and over until it becomes the new norm. If we say that the genocide is not happening, we have to find a way, in a simple way, that people will understand that there is no genocide there. But so far, I have not seen it, and I have not noticed it.
I think there's a saying that when somebody shows you who they truly are, you have to believe them. They're showing us repeatedly who they truly are. I mean, yesterday was the second anniversary of October 7th. We were on the streets because a pretty violent...
So was I.
Wonderful. A pretty violent group was in front of the Israeli consulate. They were flying Hezbollah flags. They were flying Hamas flags. They were flying PLO. And I don't even recognize all the flags, but countless terrorist organization flags. They were burning the US flag. They were burning the Israeli flag, and they were calling for intifada. We gathered over 250, and mind you, this is a high holy day for the Orthodox Jewish community, so they were not able to attend, but we were still able to gather a coalition of over 250 people, Christian allies, Assyrian allies. We had somebody there from Uzbekistan who's Muslim who talked about how they don't have freedom in these countries, and we're watching this group in America calling for intifada. And people think it's just words. It's not just words.
And the main issue is there are no consequences.
That's right.
Okay,
They
so
actually,
why wouldn't it ask? They are not afraid. There are no consequences. Why wouldn't they
yeah,
escalate? Okay, and when they come, they bring the media, and we are a very small group against them. And that's why I'm stressing that we have to be united. Okay, in large march. When I go to schools, I talk about one person in the United States I admire, and this is Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, he brought other people with him, other ethnic groups, marched nationwide, did it peacefully, and because of him, okay, many groundbreaking legislations have been established. So we have to take example from him how he did it. We have example in other countries how people successfully combated hatred. Why can't we do it here in the States? No consequences. Columbia University, an example. Okay, they broke into the university, no consequence, and nobody was arrested. Why shouldn't they keep doing it?
Sammy, you said you were out in the street yesterday too. Tell us what you were doing.
What happened is he commemorated, the October 7. Obviously, we prayed, we did sing. Okay, we got together, and to my surprise, it was 4 Jews. It was quite a large number. The media was there, and I was interviewed by several TV stations. I haven't seen the interview, but basically, what I told you, okay, that I have a strong message for the world. That was the message that I wanted to tell on TV.
Very cool. Let's see. Simona, what do you got?
Well, Sammy, you've made it almost, it's a mission. You've been traveling all over. You're educating, you're speaking, you're getting your message to the world out. What drives you to continue to do this work?
Okay. I was invited to a conference to speak to teachers from several states, okay, in Georgia, that they came from neighboring states. Then to talk about the Holocaust, about uh, about the Holocaust, and to teach them. The interesting part is, I call myself an educator. I've never been a teacher. And I became an educator because high school senior students said that I was better than the motivational speaker, and invited them. They invited a professional one, but they also called me educator. And I tried to figure out what's the difference between teacher and educator, because a lot of people lump them together. And I found out that teacher is an instructor. Okay, it's something that he does. An educator, on the other hand, that is somebody's mission. So for me to educate the next generation, okay, I don't instruct them. I don't talk to them. I engage them. And for me, this is my mission in life. I have decided since 2008, something very interesting happened. Since 2008, I decided to dedicate the rest of my life, okay, to educate the next generation. So it's a mission. It's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. It's not something that I like. It's something that I have to do.
Sammy, I want to talk about so you lived in Milwaukee and you were active when they tried to march in Skokie. Can you talk about your experience when the neo-Nazis tried to march in Skokie here?
Okay. At that particular time, to the best of my knowledge, it was the largest concentration of Holocaust survivors in Skokie. And we formed an organization called COAN, COAN, Coalition of Organizations Against Nazism. We did not care what you believed in. We did not care. The only thing cared that you wanted to fight the neo-Nazis and not allow them to march in Skopje. And this is something, and I was a member of it, I was part of it. And I am saying this is what we have to do right now. We have to form something similar to it, okay? And basically bring any group, okay, that is fighting hate. Call it, you cannot call it co-N, because right now it's not against Nazism, but we have to find COA something else. Give it a different letter that will identify exactly what we are fighting for. And we have to bring any person, any group, okay, that believes in that, regardless of what they believe, regardless of their party affiliation, regardless of anything. One mission, one single idea. But I would like to see something similar right now, what's happening. And that probably would make a huge difference and will have a great impact.
I agree, by the way, with building coalitions under special interest. Like, for example, at Chicago Jewish Alliance, like yesterday, our event was so big because we're a bunch of different people coming together for two tenets. You support Israel and you're against Jewish hate. And then you can come in our camp. That's it. That's all, we're standing for. We're standing for American values. If you're for that, come stand on our side, not the terrorist side, Yeah, yeah.
Danny, but don't forget, like I said before, you are one of the many groups that have the same idea and they do the same thing. But we are not united to be one nationwide. At that, but the co-end was something totally different, has never been before, never been since. Okay, but okay, what you're doing a great job, and I commend you for it. But we are not united, so your voice is heard in a certain area. It's not heard everywhere. Okay, when you are talking about, the jihadists, when you're talking about people that believe in Hamas, they speak with one voice. Everybody says the same thing over and over and over and over. It has become part of the norm. And that's what we have to do.
But I will.
How to do it,
Well, I
I
think
don't
we're
know.
moving in that direction. Like, I'm not even in advocacy. We started this organization a year and a half ago and before us, there were these legacy organizations where I think we were just hoping they were making these connections for us. But now what's happening is you're so right. Like, I got hip to you through my connections in New York City. They actually invited us out there. We're trying to do more cross-pollinating, but you got to they had 30 years start on us, Qatar and everything. We're just getting hip to it now. I believe after October 7th, there's been a change in Jewish advocacy. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm flying out to New York.
Okay, remember one thing. Remember one thing. These organizations have a lot of money, and they are not interested in working with other organizations. All they are interested is the donors. They want their names, okay, and they have the big gala to be recognized and whatever it is. Give me a break, okay. But this is our how shall I say weakness. We are not united, but at the same time, your strength is your weakness, and your weakness is your strength. Not being united, because of that, we are also probably one of the most creative people in the world. So, it's a mixed baggage. Okay. But in this fight against hate, we have to be united. And I personally don't know how to do it. I'm just advocating for it. Unity.
I agree with you 100%, Sami. Like, I really think the entire Jewish community needs to come together and stand up against not just the hate, but the complete evil that we've seen being unleashed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, KISS. Use a slogan that is very simple, very short, and say it over and over and over.
Sami,
People can be programmed.
what does being Jewish mean to you? What does it mean to you that you are a Jew?
Okay? You know, a Jew answers a question with a question. What does it mean to you to be a woman?
Oh, so you're pretty much saying it's like, what does it mean? No, I wasn't prepared for that.
Is it- well, it's the same thing. What does it mean? I was born a Jew. I grew up the Orthodox way. I'm not religious anymore, but that's part of my DNA, and that kept me from straying and going the wrong direction. It's my identity.
It's also a unique
You cannot
identity,
identify.
though. Like, sometimes you don't realize how special you really are, and your story is quite remarkable. And yeah.
Well, I don't think in those terms. For me, it just it's coming from the heart. I've given 6, 7 presentations in one day. I have no idea what I'm going to say, how I'm going to start, where I'm going to go. It's just from the heart. Whatever I go with the flow. In one of the two things that I do differently than other survivors. Number one, I talk how the Holocaust happened. Okay, because people did not react in time and appropriately, it kept escalating. And I want the young people to see the signs of today and to learn from the past, not to make comparisons, to learn from the past and hopefully prevent future tragedies. And at the same time, also what's important to me is the fact that we have to be united. These are the two things that are very special to me.
Do you think we can get through the division we're seeing within the country right now?
Okay, like I told you, I am an optimist. I was always optimist and I will die an optimist. Okay, this world has gone through many, many difficult times. Okay, and people thought that it's the end of the world. In my opinion, and I am totally convinced, things will get worse before they will get better. The best example they can give you, and I'm not going into politics because people have different opinions, but the best example I can give you is DEI. And I spoke on TV against it because I was against the letter E, equity. There is no such thing as equality. Even the most equal society in the world, communists, there is always an elite group above everybody else. I believe in equal opportunity. So things got to a point. Okay, everybody adopted it. Everybody was, yes, DEI, wonderful. They spent a fortune of money and everything. It came to a point that the way it was used, people started to react. And all of a sudden, major organization got away from it. The military got away from it. And then came Trump, whether you like him or you don't like him. He got rid of it. So what I'm using that as an example to understand that things will get to a point that people will start reacting, and then the pendulum will swing back to the middle. And that is unshakable belief on my part. It will get better. And I tell especially the Jewish people, do not be afraid to talk and be proud Jew, okay? And things will change.
That was beautiful, Sami. That's a great note to end it on. Positivity. We want to thank you so much for coming on. I want to say something that having a lot of times people say, "Oh, you keep your optimism because of the youth." And I think it's both. I think like having someone like you and seeing you as a role model validates the work that we're doing and gives us energy to keep going. And your energy is contagious.
And kudos to you because we need more people like you, more organizations like you. Okay, but just
And we'll work on that.
find a way to bring the other people.
We'll do it. We'll work on that unity.
That's my dream too, Sami. I'm with you completely. Thanks you so
Sami.
much for being here today.
Okay, but thank you. Okay, I'm very honored. Okay, to be involved with your audience. Thank you, Simona. Okay, and Daniel. As I told you before, if you want, after this official podcast is over, if you want, we can talk.
Well, we're going to reach out. We're going to get you to Chicago so you can tell your story to our audience live. This is what we do. We do a podcast and we introduce our community to the guests, and we'll work on bringing you here. Thank you so much, Sami. Take care. Talking to Sami Steigmann is living proof that the human spirit can't be broken. He's not defined by what happened to him. He's defined by what he does with it. In a world that's addicted to outrage, Sami's kindness is almost radical. If this conversation moved you, share it. That's how stories like Sami's keep teaching long after the credits roll. I'm Daniel Schwartz. Thank you for listening to Jew and Stew, powered by the Chicago Jewish Alliance. We'll see you next time. Follow the Chicago Jewish Alliance to stay in the loop and subscribe to this podcast so you can see what's coming next. We're going to have speakers that represent the entire spectrum of the Jewish community, from philosophical thinkers, from soldiers, people on the front lines of advocacy work on universities. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.